So I promised to show you any little snags I run into, and so you can sort of maybe learn something about how to get around them. After I was done filming putting the plastic anchor bolts in, what I noticed was this one over here that was a little bigger and a little longer just wasn't screwing in all the way, and as I tried to screw it in a little further, what I noticed is I was hitting something, and so to try to figure out what I was hitting, I went around the corner here, and I didn't even think that our medicine chest was sitting right behind there in that wall. So I've got a very short space now, and as I took the anchor bolt out to try to just shorten it up a little bit, because you can trim off the end of that drill bit without any problem, the hole really opened up, and I can't really now put another plastic anchor bolt in there. So I've decided, since I've got a big hole and I had these toggle bolts, so what I've done is I've just cut one as short as I can possibly get it. And when you use this type of toggle bolt, you have to make sure whatever you're mounting it on is your screw is right where you through whatever you want your screw through. You can tighten it and loosen the screw once it's on there, but you can't take the screw all the way out, or this little toggle portion here will just slip down behind your wall and you will not be able to retrieve it. So I've threaded it through the hole on my hook here, and we'll go ahead and try to slip that in. Alright, so that didn't work at all. I couldn't get the toggle short enough that I could push the toggle bolt through and have those springs open up. So what I've decided to do is just cover up these two holes with some spackling and go right below to put the wall anchors in. So there, we've just covered up those holes, and we'll put a little paint on that when the spackling dries. Won't take much, just to cover up that cardboard portion of the wall board. And we'll go just right below that. We still have plenty of room for the clearance of that backpack, and we can just make sure to use shorter wall anchors this time. Alright, so there I've got the two original holes filled in with some spackle compound, and then I've got the two new pilot holes drilled down below. So what I'm going to do this time is I'm going to put the wall anchor in and get the sort of pilot hole started here, and then once that's in, I'll pull this back out and we'll just cut the end of this off and go ahead and thread it in from there, and that'll work just fine. Again, sometimes the better part of valor is just to stop making the hole bigger and to start over again, and that's what we've decided to do in this case. That'll patch up nicely. We'll maybe show you that in a future video. Okay, so there you can see three of the hooks mounted, and how we mark for the fourth hook now, we've got to both align this vertically and this horizontally. And so the way we do that is we take our level and we get it up here and make it level, and then we mount the hook in the same spot as, or make sure the level's contacting the hook in the same spot as the other level over there, which is there, and we'll hold it there for a minute, and then we will make it plumb, and again making sure the level is contacting both hooks in the same spot. And I got that dead on because I marked the holes a little earlier, but that's how you would do it. And if you needed, once you got the level, if you needed to slide it to get plumb, just make sure you slide it roughly level, and then you can double check back this way once you've moved it. And once you got it in the right position, both level and plumb, go ahead and mark your holes, and that'll let you have a spot to drill. I thought I'd show this next segment just using a handheld screwdriver, regular old Phillips head, to install some wall anchors and screws to attach our fourth hook up here. I'm not going to have the same problem that I had over here with this one, on this side because the medicine chest only goes to about here on the back side of the wall. So we'll be able to use our full-size wall anchors over here. And again, I showed you those a little earlier. So again, but even with the handheld screwdriver, I'm going to start by screwing in the metal screw here. And I don't feel a stud behind that one. And I don't feel a stud behind that one. So I'm going to pull these out, and that'll be a nice starting hole for those plastic wall anchors. And even with the handheld screwdriver here, that little sharp tip on these just opens up the perfect size hole to secure that down. We'll just grab our hook here. The screws I'm using are really just the right size for these holes, so it does take a little bit of torque to get them through there. And I kept the screws nice and long. That makes those wall anchors work better if the screw is nice and long still. But you could use shorter screws in them if you needed to. It's a good idea, just as a general rule, when you're screwing in multiple screws to anything, you want to not tighten the first one all the way down. You want to leave it loose while you put the rest of the screws in, and then when you're all done, you can tighten those screws down. And that just lets you line up the second screws, or if you have more than two, all the rest of the screws, you get to line up a lot more easily if you haven't tightened that first one all the way down. And you do want to make these nice and tight so that there's no wobble. If you do have some wobble, it will loosen up over time. And there you go. 4 hooks, all pretty well lined up.